Start through. I want you to catch, kind of looking for the principles. And again, 7 of them stood out as I was just reading and thinking this last week. First one is this, that any fool can destroy a nation. Any fool can destroy a family. Any fool can destroy their life. Any fool can get drunk. Any fool can get into sin. Just listen to this. Then the sons of Israel, 40 years of peace, blessing, prosperity as a nation. Then, time sequence, the sons of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Notice it says, evil in the sight of the Lord. Here's a reality check. God determines what's evil and what is good. It doesn't say, and they did evil in the sight of the culture. They did evil in the sight of the electorate. They did evil in the sight of Hollywood. They did evil in the sight of the poll that was taken by whoever. Right? You see that? You understand what I'm saying? You don't vote on morality. There's a God who's holy. That's reality as you read the Old Testament. So it's not surprising here that when they do evil, that which God has said is evil. Think back to like the 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments tell us right and wrong, and it transcends all the dispensations of the Bible, all times and periods. In other words, adultery is always adultery, murder is always murder. It doesn't matter. It's just, this is reality. Okay, so the sons of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. The Lord. Okay, did evil in the sight of the Lord. Consequence, the Lord gave them into the hands of Midian for 7 years. Listen, sin will always remove us from a place of blessing, that's a principle, to a place of regret, sorrow, bondage, and brokenness. Every single time. Doesn't matter what dispensation you live in. Any fool can destroy a life. As a student, I trusted Christ, and I was hanging around a bunch of guys that I really looked up to. I talked about it in the Man Code. I really looked up to these guys. These guys were tough. These guys were real men. But as I was looking at them and some of the virtues that they have, man, I really wanted those in my life. Some of those virtues I have. But there were things that were not virtuous in their life. And I had to make a decision. Am I going to be foolish or am I going to be wise? Jesus said, a wise man builds his house on his commandments. A foolish man ignores his commandments and he builds his house on sand. You guys all remember that, right? From Matthew chapter 7. Or how about this one? Ladies, a wise woman builds her house and a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. That's how this works. Now, this is so important. Either you're building or you're tearing down. Why? There's only 2 kingdoms. And so every time God builds something, builds a life, builds a family, builds a nation, builds a group of people, I'm just telling you, church, build something up. Just know there's always going to be fools that come in who have never built anything and try and tear it down. Man, we live in days where there's just lots of critics. Like no one ever does anything right. I mean, just critic. I just can't. Okay, so I listen to the critics. They attack me all the time. I listen to them. And I just look at them most of the time when I get all done. I say, what have you ever built? You see, you can attack me. You can attack this church. You can attack things that I've done in my life. But what have you ever done for good? Anything? I'm just telling you. You want to look, and you want to think, am I building or am I tearing down? Satan will always tear down. God will always build. And when he tears down, he replaces. Satan will tear it down, and then he'll give you some sort. Think about it. Israel had the living God who created the heavens and the earth. They tear that down, and they put up a stinking altar and a tree to Baal and Ashtaroth. What a trade, right? And you think about all the bondage that came with that. So righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people. And friends, that's true for us. That's true for this generation. It's true for generations past. I mean, you look at America today, and America's never been perfect. But I'm going to tell you, there's a reason. When you walk in the main auditorium, there's all those flags up there. People from all around the world came here because this was and still is the best place in the whole world. Why? Because there were some sort of Christian values and virtues that were built. I'm just telling you, I've traveled the world. I'm telling you it's true. But listen to me. Nations that turn evil and say it's good, and they take good and they say it's evil. For example, throwing pastors in jail like they did in California and fining one of our friends $1.5 million. I mean, when you start penalizing the people who are doing righteousness, there's consequences.